Thank you all for being here. Hello and welcome to the American Ethical Union's All Society platform. My name is Scott Wright, and I'm honored to be representing the American Ethical Union this year as its president. Today's All Society platform is coming from the Ethical Society of St. Louis in St. Louis, Missouri, my personal society, so I'm very excited that we're hosting. As a prelude to the platform itself, which will start at 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern, we are opening with a general gathering of all societies. There are a number of societies and groups hosting watch parties, which we're going to highlight today, and our guide through that process will be leader in training Philip Lindsay from the Philadelphia Society.
Time. Well, hello, everyone joining from Zoom. Hello, everyone in person. Hybrid events are always fun. My name is Philip Lindsay. I'm here from the Philadelphia Ethical Society. And I was excited about today's All Societies platforms because this is the first time we are co-hosting. I'm really excited to be able to see from start to finish another society's platform and the way they do things in St. Louis form. It really is this interesting moment where we can pull back and think about what the American Ethical Union is, how we here in Philadelphia are connected to all of these different places around the country. There's over 100 years of history here in Philly, and there's over 100 years of history in many of these other cities around the country. So there's so much to dig into, to wrestle with, to think about. I wanted to say a few things about what brought me to ethical culture. So, and the theme of my brief remarks before we're going to hear from a few other folks around the country is doorways into ethical culture. My doorway in to ethical culture was through Monica Weiss at the New York Society for Ethical Culture. She's a member there, super member, I would call her, and a super connector of people. I was looking for a space to hold a volunteer environmental activist game night. There was a game that we were working with that was designed by Hunter College, and it was tasking players to decarbonize New York City's energy system. And I was working with this team of volunteers, and we were looking for different places, and we were connected to Monica and the New York Society for Ethical Culture. So many people here in Philadelphia and in other societies, their doorway in to ethical culture is the fact that ethical provides them a space of solidarity, whether that means a low-cost space for their activity, their community meeting, or for their arts programming, for their concert. So for so many people, that's their doorway in. But there's many different doorways into ethical culture. And part of why I love leading the Philly Society is that we have so many doorways into this building. There's arts. We look around the room. We started our first artist in residence program, I think, in the history of the society. Right now, we have art all along the walls here by a local artist, David Abir. That's a different way of bringing people in, right? Music is at the heart of ethical culture. For me, I'm a big music lover, and I love the fact that before and after every platform, we hear a different featured musician. That's one thing that I've also leaned into here in Philly is featuring local musicians and specifically doing work trades with them so that they can have our space here for free when they have their concerts and they can play for us during platforms. Last week here in Philly, we did a reflective exercise about what the American Ethical Union was, what ethical culture was, what resonates, what do we feel like is missing. And not like it was some pop quiz, like there's specific missing principles, but simply to ask, to do this practice of re-encountering the questions of what are the big ethical questions today? What does the ethical society mean for us today? That's the DNA of ethical culture, is to reapproach that these things can't be fixed in writing or in dogmas or in creeds. They are an act of rediscovery and a reawakening of sense. So we do this every Sunday. And one of the quotes that for me as a new leader, someone who's been really excited about organizing here in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Ethical Society, was the following. It was a quote from American Ethical Union that I wanted to read for all of us together here in person and online. Ethics, most broadly, is the study of human behavior and its consequences in the light of what is ideally possible. Ethics are not merely social conventions like table manners. Rather, ethics define the social conditions necessary for human beings to thrive. Ethics define the social conditions necessary for human beings to thrive. That's why I'm focusing on music, art, our space, making our space feel more welcoming, making it feel good in here when you come in on a Sunday. That's what we should be striving for. But it also means building out programming in different directions. Here at Philadelphia Ethical Society, one thing I want to invite everybody online to be a part of is our 100th anniversary of Camp Linden. This summer, we're having 2 camping trips, one in July and one at the end of August, that anyone from across the ethical societies can participate in. So stay tuned for that. I want to now turn to a few other doorways in to ethical culture that I've found compelling from other societies around the country. So one is a um, a concert that Barbara Carlson is organizing.
Yes,
Barbara
Barbara's
from Nice.
here. Barbara's
Barbara,
here.
good to see you.
Hi, good to see you too. Good
Yeah,
to
I
meet
don't know if you.
you.
Yeah, so Barbara, can you tell us a little bit about your background in musical programming and the upcoming programming at NISEC and the partnerships you have?
So I was a music teacher in New York, in and about New York for 46 years. And as that was my job, I of course I created concerts, and I also at some point was the arts and education coordinator for one of my schools because I always believed that you could teach people through the arts, which was kind of a back doorway of getting ideas across to people. So from there, I retired. I became part of the Ethical Society in New York. I currently lead tours at Lincoln Center, which has its own components of what is ethical, but it also keeps me in the arts. So, I'm a musician. I play music. I play in chamber groups. I play in orchestras. I live in the arts. Really, music, theater, dance, culture. It's all what I need to survive. So that's my background.
Wonderful. And so tell us about this Juneteenth Jubilee and the partnership with I think it's Musicians on the Inside.
Yeah. So when I came to ethical, one of the things I noticed as a string player who plays a wood instrument, I'm very sensitive to acoustics, and I noticed all the beautiful spaces in the building that could be used for music in various ways. So I started to, uh, I got permission to create programs in the arts, but I thought, Lincoln Center is down the street and Carnegie Hall is just a little further. And what is the kinds of programming that we should be doing at the Ethical Society? So I'd like to always combine those concerts, plays, and dance things with ethical ethics in mind. So, long story short, we came to the realization that it would be great to celebrate Juneteenth at our beautiful building. And what better way than to have some sort of a big concert? So we started 4 years ago to partner with a group called Music on the Inside. Music on the Inside is a very active organization that offers music lessons, learning instruments to incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people. And so the society partnered with Music on the Inside, and they now offer this Juneteenth concert, which is a wonderful way of bringing their organization's wonderful work to the community. And they're able to get professional musicians to partner with the musicians of Music on the Inside. So it's a really big event that we have every year on Juneteenth, and we're very proud to offer it in our beautiful theater.
Thank you so much for sharing, Barbara. So before we move on to the next person, which will be Kurt Collier from the Bergen Society, here in Philly, I'm really excited about the potential for partnerships like the one Barbara talked about, because we've got Curtis right down the street. We've got so many different social justice organizations that we can think about partnering with. Kurt, great to see you. Oh, that's a great pan of Bergen. So
Yeah.
Kurt, another doorway into ethical culture that you all have created over at Bergen and NISEC, I believe, is the Night Rangers program, which I would love for you to tell us all about. Can you tell us about the Night Rangers program?
Sure. Happy 150th anniversary to the ethical culture movement. Our way of life is to dedicate ourselves to making the world a better place and making sure that the culture outside our doors is one that elicits the best from our citizenry and not our worst. And unfortunately, we're kind of heading in the opposite direction, and it's good to kind of stand up and make those choices. Part of that is also to think about how, in a way, your society is relevant to the broader community, right? So that we're not only serving the people who are in our room. We wanted to do is to make sure that we're focusing on the other challenges that we have in the broader community. Here in New Jersey, we have a very special place, right? Because here is where the commercialization of the light bulb occurred in the entire planet. This is where light commercialized Bilson, right, with Edison, right down the street here. Edison in West Orange and other cities here. He built his workshops. And from here, the electric light spread around the world for many good reasons, right? We could read books at night. We could have theater. We could do all these wonderful things. But light has been increasing every year. Even in the state of New Jersey, we're sometimes 2 to 10% brighter every year, and we've lost the dark sky. And the problem with that is that not only have we disrupted our own circadian cycles and invaded light into our bedrooms, which disrupts so much about our human being, we've also affected the birds here on the Atlantic Flyway, which is a principal flyway here in the United States. And we've actually are down in our bird counts of about 2 billion birds on the East Coast. So we've lost, in our annual counts, we're down about 2 billion birds. So the Night Ranger program, we just started by starting to raise awareness of the tremendous light that's invading our sleep, our skies. We've lost our way. We used our stars for navigation. We also used them to tell where we are in the universe, and we've lost a lot of that. And so here at the Ethical Culture Society, we started hosting dark sky parties. We brought in speakers. We put telescopes out on the parking lot, and it started to raise awareness. We helped build a coalition that now has partnerships that include Princeton University, Rutgers University, Fairleigh Dickinson University, that we all help bring in. Now we launched another nonprofit. That's our third, I think, nonprofit this Ethical Society has started, dealing just with light pollution. To just bring up our president, Eric Sanhusen, who will talk about all the other little projects we got.
Thank you, Kurt, and thanks for all your great energy. It's really a wonderful thing for us to be able to participate. I have been the Society's representative to the AEU board for 3 years now, and I'm really glad to see all of the great energy that is coming through the AEU as well. I won't talk about all the programs that we've got going on here because I know we have other people to put on, but what I do want to say is that I'm especially proud as the president of this society for the way we're able to offer resource to the larger community. We have Indivisible, a local Indivisible group meets here, a local Amnesty group meets here. We have the Bergen County Gay Lesbian Alliance meets here. We have Lavender Treks. We have so many organizations in the community that have found that this is a good place, neutral ground perhaps, or maybe even higher ground, if you will, for them to come and do the work that they do. And so it's wonderful that we're able to support so many organizations like that.
Thank you, Eric and Kurt. So as Kurt mentioned, this Night Rangers program, one of the things I'm excited about here in Philly is that very few people know about the history of David Rittenhouse, the fact that he was a self-taught astronomer here in Philadelphia. And we have a chance to bring that story through programs similar to Night Rangers or another experience around thinking about the night sky, whether it's here or at Camp Linden, taking folks out, doing camping trips, actually being able to see the night sky for folks in the city. It's such a special doorway in to a different experience, a different way of relating to the world. And most importantly, as an organization that Deed Before Creed does not ask people to focus in a specific spiritual or ideological path. It's like, what better way to provide a sense of belonging than to think about the natural world and to think about our own circadian rhythms and connect with this insanely massive cosmos that we're floating through together. Okay. So next on my list here, we have Muriel from Brooklyn.
Thank you for inviting me to say a few words. Let me just say that I came to ethical culture because not only does it have a history of liberalism, but it also has a culture of intellectualism. So that means that people are willing to look at ideas and to fathom them for the rationality and the rational thought, I should say, that they present. So in that regard, we have a couple of programs that I'd like to bring to your attention. The first one is Lucy's Children. Lucy was named for the Australopithecus that was discovered in 1974 by Dr. Johansson, who was sort of meandering his way back to the village from I should say to his camp, from a morning run when he saw this bone sticking out of the earth. And it turns out that this bone represented, or actually was the bone of a female who had lived some between 3.5, 3.7 million, depending on who you're looking at in terms of your source material, who lived in Africa and who was in a tree and apparently fell. Or at least that's the story that's being put together. And one of the reasons why she was in the tree is because at the same time there was a man-eating crocodile that was about 12 feet long that was roaming the earth, so trees were a good thing. The point that I'm making is that Lucy happens to be the connector between what had gone on before, and Dr. Johansson said in his hands they could only hold about a handful of bones to provide the evolutionary trail from earlier times to Lucy, and then, of course, down more to the modern age. So Lucy's Children has taken the responsibility of looking at human conditions, not just in this country, but in other places around the world. It's been on a selective basis. Our focus has been with regard to the condition of Black people in this country, which is an underserved, understudied, understood relationship. And now we are in the midst of a large political operation that has us talking to each other pretty much as if we were now at 1860 as opposed to 2026. We'd like to bridge that conversation. We'd like to have more engagement and more development and more maturity. Having said all that, out of Lucy's Children, one of the programs that we are working on is something called the New York Coalition on Behalf of the Rights of the Child. The title shifts because we are new. It's just beginning, but the idea is to develop coalition work across political lines, across professional lines, with parents, children, teachers, and various people who are interested in the condition of children because they are our most vulnerable population. Regardless of what you think, all you have to do is look, read, understand. So we are in the process of developing that process. We had a very well-received program in November of last year, and we're planning one for the upcoming November period, which is celebrating the United Nations Day with regard to children. Moving right along, I would like to say that we have been, I hope, a prime supporter of Carolyn Parker, who is heading something called the Atlas Study Project out of NISEC, which is looking at boxes and boxes of papers that have been stored there for decades, which house the intellectual history of this operation, of this body of thought. And periodically, she develops papers that are shared. We hope that you read them. We are, if nothing else, a cheerleader for that process, and we hope that other people will join it. And that's pretty much my wrap. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Muriel. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so finally on this little tour, in terms of doorways into ethical culture, Karen Elliott from Baltimore has done a scan of the different ways that ethical societies talk about themselves.
All right. I'm Karen Elliott, president of the Baltimore Ethical Society, here with some of our members at an informal watch party in the house of member Argentine Craig, who is here to my left. And you can see some of the other members who are here. Right. I'm so glad to come together with you in the special 150th anniversary year. So we were founded by a diverse group of people, in part so that they could raise their children together in what was at the time a still very racially segregated city. In fact, our society was noted in the Baltimore Afro-American newspaper as having the first racially integrated Sunday school in the city. Baltimore, like our country, continues to deal with the results of the long-term systemic discrimination against people of color. The Baltimore Ethical Society has consistently focused part of our ethical action in recent years on becoming a more effective anti-racist organization. In planning our actions, we take guidance from Black-led organizations such as Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle, whose then CEO Adam Jackson spoke to American Ethical Union members at the 2017 assembly here in Baltimore City. Together, our society is working toward a future of racial and economic justice, a truly more ethical culture in both our city and the entire country. And together is a key word as we think about our societies and our movement. We sometimes talk about how we describe ourselves as members of ethical societies, that elusive, short, but comprehensive elevator speech. But how do we describe our societies to others? I got curious about that while thinking about our movement's 150th anniversary and how each of our societies and circles has a different flavor and different ways of being ethicals together. We thought others might be interested in this. So here is what I found from looking at all the society and circle websites and some social media places. Most of us identify primarily 64% or secondarily 27% as a community. The more traditional and religious in tone congregation is used as the primary identification for 23% of groups and as the secondary identification for 18%. Along with community or congregation, humanist or humanistic was used by half the societies, the most common descriptor of the type of community or congregation. Other terms used for the type of group are organization, fellowship, or place, or the type of group is not named at all, keeping more of a focus on defining ethical humanism or simply talking about what they do together. And after all, Adler did say ethical culture is focused on deed above creed. The adjectives we use in our descriptions tell us much more about how we see ourselves and how we want to be seen. Active, caring, common good, democratic, diverse, dynamic, ethical action, ethics, ethics-centered, friendly, human dignity, humane, humanist, humanistic, members and friends, neighbors, theistic, reason, religious, shared responsive, supportive, vibrant, welcoming. Our society names also demonstrate our individuality and the evolution of the ethical movement over time. Not too long ago, a marketing group that the AEU engaged suggested that societies name ourselves more similarly and put the ethical in a consistent position so it would be easier for people to find an ethical society when moving from one place to another. But we are nothing if not independent thinkers, and the range of names of societies reflects that ethical societies are in unique places to come together, but we all share common values and a common focus on putting our into action.
Thank you so much for sharing, Karen. That was really useful. I think it's useful for me, so I hope it's useful to everyone online and in person. So again, we saw a few doorways into ethical culture: arts, the wonder of science, history, coalition building across political divides, right? These are big themes that come up, I think, for every one of our ethical societies. So I hope that gave you a little bit of taste of what different societies are doing. And also, if we work more closely together, how we can collaborate and scale some of these initiatives. So to the All Societies team, Dror and Vandra, it's back to you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Wonderful to see us all. This is a very special time for hundreds of us to see each other, to be inspired. We are all now in our 150th year of ethical culture. This is a great time for us to reflect and celebrate.
Welcome. We're here sitting in Felix Adler Hall to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the ethical culture movement.
It's so good to be back home.
Unity is still what brings us together. Unity in purpose, unity in community, unity in the belief that ethical action can shape a better world.
But anniversaries are not only moments for reflection, they are also moments for truth-telling.
The uncertainty we feel today mirrors the struggles of the past. And just as we fought then, we must fight now. Every major step toward justice in this country was achieved because ordinary people stood together and demanded change. I still believe in that power.
Many of you may not realize, but the NAACP was co-founded in partnership with ethical culture.
Wow. It is so important for all of us. Our whole humanity is nourished by having an intergenerational community.
The most important thing about the encampment for me when I got there was to be surrounded by youth that had the same goals for the future of America as I did.
There's a big problem with ice raids. We went to a strawberry farm, and there we met with a lot of farm workers who had personal stories of how they were affected by these ice raids.
The experience of going to a farm and meeting not only the farmers but also the organized farmers, how they organized.
When I was in the New York State Legislature, I tried to legislate with the society and with the encampment in mind.
My cousin was Emmett Till. It took me years before I could cry about that. But the power that I got from it is that you do something about it. Don't just sit on your fanny and do nothing.
One person can make a difference. That you don't have to wait around for everybody else to do it. You do it, they may come along.
We're really looking forward to how this mission, this ideal started 150 years ago, can be brought into the future.
Let us raise our glasses to express our appreciation. Bravo.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Washinton Ethical Society. This is our building. We're located just inside the DC, Maryland border on 16th Street. And if you travel a couple miles down 16th Street, you would hit the White House. Here we have a beautiful mosaic and some signs so that people passing by will know what we stand for. Let's go inside. A couple of years ago, we mounted these panels that show the history of WES. We go back about 80 years. And then we have a lower level that has some classrooms and a kitchen downstairs, and then out back a playground and a butterfly garden. Our main hall is in here.
This isn't yours.
This is where we have platform every Sunday.
Here's our peace poll. Good morning, Kurt Collier, leader of the Bergen Ethical Culture Society.
Hey, welcome to our mess. Come on in at the Ethical Society. Lots going on. As there is every single week here, you can see our big busy board of stuff and events. We got our big Help See Recycled clothing drive going on here. And this is Afina, who's been working hard in the kitchen. In fact, she's the one that made this beautiful tapestry here with some help from her friends. We got all our stuff going on.
Here's our podium where we do our gatherings, and today we've got a rummage sale going on. So, as you can see, it's beautiful mayhem, as it almost always is.
Welcome to the Ethical Society Mid-Rivers. We are located in O'Fallon, Missouri, which is in St. Charles County, just west of St. Louis. This is our lobby area. A few straggler members here. We have our name tag board over here on the right. This is our platform room. And we have our programs on Sundays. This room serves as a library and an office and a catch-all room. Currently, we're in the process of weaving sleeping mats for unhoused people in our area. So that's what the looms and the large bags full of bags are. Meeting space here for small groups or just folks who need to socialize. And 2 classrooms for our SEEK program, Sunday Ethical Education for Kids.
Oh, hi guys. The kids are making an ethical village today. Here's their ethical society.
But there's a strength in the leaderless group because every member has to and wants to be involved.
The Society for Ethical Culture has helped me raise my children to be good people in a world where it's increasingly hard to do. Thank you to the children's program at RISEC.
Ethical culture means that the world doesn't revolve around you and you can use your own voice to change the world.
Hi, I'm Chris Van Dyke, the president of the Northern Virginia Ethical Society. We meet here in the Green Hedges School twice a month, and we have been meeting here for many, many years. Our Ethical Society is 40 years old, and we have a lot of people who have joined us for different reasons.
Hi, I'm Iris Woodard, and I joined way back when my kids were young for Sunday school and for community, and I like the community, so I'm still here.
I'm Jeremy Weiss. We joined 13 years ago. We're looking for a place for our kids to go to Sunday school, but I found this is a place where I belong and I fit in.
Hi, I'm Randy Best, the leader of the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, and I grew up in ethical culture, and I feel that ethical culture is important for our own community and for the world, and I think we have something to say, so it's great that our tradition continues, and I'm pleased to be part of it.
Hi, I'm from Ethical Culture. We have members watching from home and a gathering of people here with us. Behind me is Janine, our inestimable treasurer, our president up and coming, Bija, wave. This is Lisa and Valerie and Zia, another Lisa, Margaret, Bill. We had hoped to tell you about an upcoming project to celebrate the rededication of our building as a peace site. It was one of the very first. It's one of many now. But the person who heads up our peace project is actually at Delaney Hall, the notorious detention center that's been in the news for the last few days. Terry Seuss was one of the first people to sound the alarm about the atrocious conditions there and to support the families coming to look after and try and reach the inmates. So Terry's going to be celebrating peace here while she tries to create peace on the other side of town. We will be renewing our garden and our peace pole, and hopefully continuing with our local projects to foster communication in the Maplewood community. So thank you, everybody. Good to see you. Good to be with all of you. And we're passing the candle to Sebastian.
I'm Sebastian Bental. I'm a member of the Westchester Community for Ethical Culture. Our society was founded in 1921 and joined the AU in 1929. We moved to our current location in 1963, and I've been attending here for a bit over 2.5 years. And I think I was asked to tell you what we are up to. So, among other things, we've got a core colloquy group that meets very regularly, has very loyal members. They rarely skip, and they explore ethical topics together in friendly conversation. We also have a very successful sort of outward-facing program for getting people in the door, which is a monthly game night and an associated annual Ethicon Games Convention, which is a day-long games convention to raise money for Lifting Up Westchester. It's been growing each of the 3 years we've done it. This year we raised $1,500 for Lifting Up Westchester, and we're really excited about that. We've also launched a blog. You can go to our Ethical Times Substack. This is interesting. It grew out of an effort to, among other things, try to state our society's values. And rather than coming up with a single statement of values, we wound up having a whole blog with short form essay, creative writing, poetry to express a lot of different voices and what they think about ethical culture. And we really invite members of any ethical society to submit things to the Ethical Times Substack because we see it as a rich way of telling what we think about ethics and also listening to each other, what we have to say. Let's see. Our leader, Bart Wharton, retired 2 years ago, and we're a member-led organization. And we also are in the process of selling the building, and because we're anticipating that would be better than paying for eventually needed repairs. And so there's a question of where we're going to move to. And I think it's fair to say there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. I think it's also fair to say that we're trying to sort of reboot a children's program here, and it's coming up to a kind of rocky start. So these are real challenges, and I'm mentioning these because I think it would be great if we could get advice from other societies about how we could manage these challenges moving forward. And with that, I will pass it to Ken.
Hi, the Chicago Circle started 10 years ago when the Ethical Humanist Society of Chicago disassociated itself with the AU. And by those of us who appreciated the value of being in an ethical enclave, but wanting to be part of continue to be part of the larger movement to bring what we've been given to others. And post-COVID, and with immunocompromised members, we've been meeting almost entirely on Zoom, except for 8 potlucks or picnics a year. We meet on Sunday afternoons, colloquy twice a month, a platform or a great documents discussion, which has always gathered more people than platform for us. And most recently, Chicago investigative reporting monthly discussions, which have also started to gather interest. Saving rental expense, we're able to dedicate half of our budget to ethical action. And we focus mostly on an organization on the southwest side of Chicago that serves people who aren't being served by other community. It's a community organization. We support kids from kids who are from poorer families to attend summer programs, and every year we outfit about a dozen first-generation college students with full backpacks as they go off to college. We're a small group, but we're a family. And most recently, we've helped start a new ethical community in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If you see Amy Sloan on there, the Northeast Indiana Ethical Humanists is a startup group here that we've been able to help. And I'm passing to Vandra.
So thank you all so much for coming, for being here. It's been a wonderful hour. just so many wonderful things happening across our community. Thank you so much.
You're connected, just I'm excited to connect with our ethical family across the nation today. It's my honor to introduce our musical guest today. The Ethical Band is a member-led group made of musicians from within our own community. One of the things that makes our society and others around the nation so special is that much of what happens here is created by the people within the room. Thank you to all of the incredible people on this stage, the people in our auditorium, and those watching online for sharing your time, talents, creativity, and care to help build our community together. If you are here in the auditorium and think you might need some earplugs because the band rocks out, they're on the welcome table, grab some. To begin our celebration this morning, the Ethical Band will perform Find Your People by Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors, a song about connection, belonging, and the people who help us feel less alone in the world. As the Ethical Band plays their first song, I invite those participating through the Mentimeter to reflect on this question: what first brought you to ethical culture or humanism? You can continue responding and exploring others' answers during the music and wait until you see the next prompt to appear on your screen. Now, please join me in welcoming the Ethical Band.
To make you feel whole, they won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul. You gotta find your people, the ones that get the joke, who understand what you're saying before a word is spoke. You gotta find your people, put the needle in the groove. When you're together, you got nothing to prove. When you're together, you got nothing to lose. In a world full of strangers, you don't know to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people that'll call your bluff, who ride along when the road is rough. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel equal. They pick you up, they don't put you down. Help you find your way in the lost and found. In a world full of strangers, you don't know to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. The ones that understand you, the ones that lend a hand to you, the ones that don't demand anything from you. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright. They tell you the truth and wish you well. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm always so grateful to share the stage with you, and with a banjo today, it makes me extra happy. Okay, as responses continue coming in from across the country, it's really moving to see how many different paths brought people into ethical culture and humanism through community, questioning, justice, friendship, family, and the search for meaning and belonging. However people arrived here, it's clear that many of us were looking for spaces where we could grow, connect, and build something meaningful together. Each week, we read our youth education core values as a way to bring us together and remind us of our shared commitments. Our youth programs are on summer break at the moment, so I'm honored to channel my inner youth and share our core values. Actually, no, apparently I'm going to invite Lorelei Nienhaus to the stage because she's here with us today.
Every person is important and unique. Every person deserves to be treated fairly and kindly. I can learn from everyone. I'm a part of this earth. I cherish it and all the life upon it. I learn from the world around me by using my senses, mind, and feelings. I am a member of the world community, which depends on the cooperation of all people for peace and justice. I can learn from the past to build for the future. I am free to question. I am free to choose what I believe. I accept responsibility for my choices and actions. I strive to live my values.
Thank you, Lorelei. I'm grateful you were here because it's so much better when it comes from the youth in our community. And these values remind us that community members of all ages help make this a special place to learn and grow together. Our band's next musical selection is We Are Here by Alicia Keys, a song about showing up for one another and staying engaged in the work of building a better future together. Every generation wrestles with what matters most. Hold on. They wrestle with what matters most and what values are worth passing forward. As we listen, we invite those participating through Mentimeter to reflect on this question: what ethical humanist value is worth carrying in to the next 150 years? As you share your response, don't forget to check out what others are saying in Mentimeter and interact by liking others' responses. Now, let's welcome back the Ethical Band for We Are Here by Alicia Keys.
wanna shine, they wanna rob them. Sing them all where they come from. How are we gonna save the nation with no support for education? 'Cause right now it don't make sense. Right now it don't make sense. Let's talk about our part. My heart touch your heart. Let's talk about living. Cut enough for dying. Not what we all about. Let's do more giving. Do more forgiving. Yeah, our souls are brought together so that we can love each other, sister. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. It's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. It's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. It's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. It's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here.
Thank you again. So fantastic. As people continue reflecting on the future of this movement, some of the values appearing most often are inquiry, justice, and community. It's powerful to see those commitments emerging from people joining us from across the country today. Before our main address, let's pause and reset our attention. Allow your body to release any tension you may be holding and give your mind permission to set aside what can wait as we share one silent minute to prepare ourselves to listen clearly and reflect thoughtfully. Thank you for sharing that minute with each other. Today, we welcome Louise Jett. Louise is a communicator, designer, strategist, and American Ethical Union certified leader whose work helps bring ethical culture's values into public life through storytelling, creativity, and community building. Her background spans journalism, photography, graphic design, education, and digital media. But at the center of all of her work is a deep belief in human connection and the power of people coming together in support of one another. Louise has helped shape how many people across the country experience and engage with ethical culture today, helping communities tell their stories with clarity, warmth, and purpose. Louise invites us to reflect not only on where we've been, but on the kind of ethical communities we can build together. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome Louise Jett.
Thank you so much, Samantha. And everyone else, that last song really choked me up. The band sounds awesome as usual, and Lorelai's core values, and Claire, the interactivity. Good morning. My name is Louise Jett, and my pronouns are she and her. And what a gift it is to be with you here today, and to know that as we gather, friends across the country are gathering with us, watching, celebrating the same milestone. That feels like the right way to mark this anniversary, because ethical culture has never been something we do alone. There are anniversaries that ask us to look backward, and there are anniversaries that ask us to look around. The 150th anniversary of ethical culture asks us to do both. It invites us to honor the courage of those who first imagined a movement rooted in ethics, human dignity, reason, and service. It also asks us to notice the world where we are living in right now. Anxious, divided, searching, grieving, changing. A world in need of people willing to practice goodness out loud. Late ethical culture leader Jerome Nathanson once wrote, "The price of the democratic way of life is a growing appreciation of people's differences, not merely as tolerable, but as the essence of a rich and rewarding human experience." A century and a half into this movement, that feels less like a historical reflection and more like a living assignment. I want to tell you about a morning in this society years ago that I've never forgotten. I was sitting here with some of you who are here right now, watching our former leader, Kate Lovelady, give a platform talk about taking things one step at a time. As she spoke, she had a tall stack of paper on the podium. And while she talked, she moved the stack one page at a time until she completely transferred it to the other side of the podium. One page, then the next, then the next. It was slow. It was almost funny, and I think some people did laugh because it was just so methodical and slow. But by the end of her talk, the whole stack had crossed to the other side of the podium. I have carried that image with me for years. When the work of the world, the work of ethical humanism, feels impossible, when it feels too demanding or too complicated, I remember that stack of paper, one page, and then the next. And that is ethical culture to me. Not a grand arrival, but a practice, a patience, a refusal to be frozen by how much there is to do. For me, ethical culture has never felt like a relic in a museum. It has never been only a set of historical ideas or names from the past, though I treasure those too. Ethical culture feels alive for me because it keeps asking the most human questions. How do we live together? How do we bring out the best in one another? How do we build communities where dignity is not just discussed, but also practiced? How do we turn our values into action when the world feels too cruel and too complicated? I didn't always have the language for this. I came to ethical culture the long way around. I was a deeply religious kid in a family of atheists, the youngest due-paying member of my little Baptist church, because that's how you rebel when your parents are atheists. I was belting out hymns and asking lots of questions, mostly about dinosaurs. And eventually, as a curious 14-year-old, I became a member of the Pentecostal church that was close to my house. A church where I was eventually asked to leave by the preacher in mid-service for giggling with a toddler. No one stood up for me. I was 14. I know I'm not the only one in this room who has been hurt by a community that was supposed to hold them. It took me years to understand that what broke that day wasn't my faith in goodness. It was my faith in a community that had stopped practicing it. I realized that I was looking for was a place where dignity wasn't theoretical, where questions were honored, where belonging didn't depend on agreement. I just didn't know it had a name yet. When Felix Adler founded Ethical Culture in 1876, he offered a bold idea that people do not need to agree on theology in order to come together around ethical living. He taught that what matters most is not what we profess or what we believe, but what we do and how we treat each other. He asked us to take seriously the responsibilities we hold toward one another. He believed that goodness can be cultivated through relationship, education, service, and a shared commitment. A century and a half later, that vision still feels radical. In a time when so much public life rewards certainty, outrage, and division, ethical culture asks for something braver. It asks us to remain open, to think deeply, to care actively, to tell the truth without surrendering tenderness, to build communities where disagreement does not erase belonging, to practice ethics as a daily discipline and not an abstract ideal. To tell the truth without surrendering tenderness. It's harder than it sounds, and it sounds pretty hard. It is also, I think, the work that keeps drawing me in. Ethical culture taught me that deed before creed is more than a phrase. It's a way of orienting yourself toward the world. Our lives are the argument we make about what matters. The shared meal, the hard conversation, the child welcomed in, the person seen more fully than they expected to be. This is the scripture of a movement that doesn't have one. That is why this anniversary feels so meaningful for me. We are celebrating 150 years of a movement that has kept trying, kept adapting, kept gathering people around the possibility that human beings can be more compassionate, more courageous, and more responsible together than we often manage alone. And yes, ethical culture has always been imperfect because it has always been human. Our histories include aspiration and failure, imagination and progress, and unfinished work. To love a movement honestly is to be willing to tell the whole truth about it. The beauty of ethical culture is not that it has arrived. The beauty is that it keeps becoming. The Ethical Society of St. Louis is a part of that becoming. One bright point in a living constellation of humanist communities across generations, carried by people who believe ethical life is something we practice in relationship. Societies like this one give the movement its heartbeat. We gather, learn, question, organize, remember, repair, celebrate, and do it all over again. Adler saw this from the start. He wrote that the moral order never is, but is ever becoming. It grows with our growth. 150 years later, we're still growing. This anniversary is a moment of gratitude, but it also is a challenge. It asks what ethical culture looks like now. It asks who needs this movement today. It asks how we carry forward a tradition without merely preserving it behind glass. Because there are people who are looking for exactly this, even if they don't know its name yet. People looking for community without dogma, people looking for justice rooted in love, people looking for a way to live their values with others. Ethical culture is that place. At 150, we're still here. That alone is worth celebrating. But even more than endurance, I want to celebrate possibility. The possibility that this movement still has something vital to offer. The possibility that our gatherings can become sources of courage. The possibility that our words can become deeds. The possibility that we can keep growing the good together as agents of change. May this anniversary remind us that we inherit more than a history. We inherit a responsibility. We inherit the work of tending human dignity, of widening belonging, of practicing justice with compassion, and becoming more ethical together. 150 years later, ethical culture is still asking the right questions, and we are still answering with the way we live our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. I answered inspiration as one of the things that brought me here, and that is what you do, so thank you. Thank you also for helping us reflect on the history of the ethical culture movement and the communities we continue building together today. To ground our learning today in lived experience, we will hear from the Ethical Society of St. Louis Board President, Clark Hoteling. Please join me in welcoming Clark to the stage.
Not quite sure why they switched up the order. I wish I had gone before Louise. Good morning and good afternoon to everybody on the East Coast. I'm Clark Hoteling, and 11 days ago I became president of the Ethical Society Board of Trustees. I'm told we have the largest membership, 321, of all ethical societies. In September of this year, I will be celebrating my 3rd anniversary as a member. You heard that correctly. I haven't been a member 3 years yet, and here I am, president of the Board of Trustees of the largest ethical society in the world. What does that say? Either the membership is crazy, desperate, or a little bit of both. But seriously, we need more members and more active members. We need to grow. That should be the goal of all ethical societies. I understand the question of why we aren't growing is not a new one. However, I believe the world will be more just, more kind, more helpful, more accepting place with more societies and more members. We need to figure out how to grow with sustainable, long-term solutions. Wouldn't the world be a better place if we had more people striving to live the values we profess and shared today that we want to carry forward? How did I get here? Let me give you a brief snapshot of my journey. I grew up in Yellow Springs, Ohio, probably the very best town in the nation to grow up in, home of Antioch College. My parents were both originally New Yorkers and did not belong to any organized religion. Their families had been burned by organized religion, and they considered themselves humanists. They certainly lived and taught the values, but they did not belong to a humanist community. In fact, they wanted all their children, all four of us, to find our own spiritual paths, which we all did. Not growing up in a religious community left me naive about the positive aspects of religious communities. I was cynical and, quite frankly, a snob. I didn't understand the true value of congregational life. And then I met, fell in love, and married my wife of nearly 42 years. Mary Jane was a cradle Episcopalian, but taking a break during college and immediate post-college years. We moved to Cincinnati in the early 90s, and she became involved in our local parish, and I started attending. I really enjoyed it, but had earmuffs on during all that God talk. And then our first son was born and baptized, and then our second son was born, and I got baptized with him. Shortly after that, we moved to St. Louis, and I was received and confirmed into the church and became a very active member of the congregation for over 20 years. I loved the community, the projects, made so many friends. Everything was perfect, except that stuff I just didn't believe, and that really is why most people gathered. Then there was a major kerfuffle, and several of us left the church. Guess who I found? The Ethical Society of St. Louis. Everything here was great, similar to the Episcopal Church, except for that part I just didn't believe. I dated here for about 8 months and then applied for membership and immediately plugged myself into things that bring me joy and let me strive to live my values, continual lifelong learning, deepening relationships with good people, working together to make a positive impact on the world, honoring traditions while at the same time embracing change. Change can be a stretch for many of us. However, in the words of master inventor Charles Kettering, the world hates change, yet it is the only thing that has brought progress. Why am I here? Today's platform and celebration is why. Everything I want in a community: great music, great values, great humans, tremendous inspiration and learning. Louise, your message is really why I'm here. You people are why I'm here. I've really enjoyed participating in the AEU's President's Council, sharing what we are all doing, sharing best practices, striving to be better. Our goal should be 100% about growth, how we are growing our hearts and our minds and ourselves, how we are growing our deeds, and how we are growing our memberships. I'll be in New York City in July for the AEU Assembly, celebrating 150 years of ethical culture. I look forward to meeting many of you in person. We need to invest in this movement. The world needs more people like us. Thank you all. And I'm happy to celebrate my 65th birthday with all of you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Clark. And thank you for sharing your story with us this morning. At the Ethical Society of St. Louis, our mission shapes everything we do, from Sunday platforms to youth programs, music, service, and partnerships in the wider community. Our work is sustained through the generosity of our members and friends. The collection baskets and the QR code on the screen are simple ways to engage in financial support. Every contribution helps bring our missions to life. Our welcome team will now take up a collection to support programs to help us think deeply, take action, and grow together. If you'd like to stay connected to our community, we invite you to subscribe to our weekly newsletter for updates on upcoming programs, service opportunities, and ways to get involved. The Ethical Band's final song, Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop, reminds us that ethical progress is ongoing work. Every generation inherits unfinished challenges, but also new opportunities to care for one another, build community, and move the world a little closer towards justice and human dignity. We invite those participating through Mentimeter to reflect one final time. Complete this sentence. The next chapter of ethical culture begins when we. Please welcome back to the stage a final time, the Ethical Band.
So while we're getting set up here, I'll just introduce everybody on the stage, go through it real quick. On guitars, we have Sean O'Hara, Eric Ray, Kyle Nienhaus, and Sandy Sansing. Our vocalists today are Crystal White, Nikki Nienhaus, and myself, Eric Compton. Our drummer and thunder god over there is Andy Orahood. And a special thanks today for Mike Engelhart, our musical director here at the Ethical Society, for standing in with today and playing piano. Thank you. If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes, look at the day, you'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow, don't stop, it'll soon be here, it'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Why not think about time to go and not about things that you've done? If your life was bad to you,
much joy. Thank you to the Ethical Band for sharing your music and energy with us this morning. It always brings me such pleasure to share the stage with such fabulous musician and fabulous messaging. Thank you to Clark for grounding today in personal reflection and community vision and a birthday celebration. And thank you to Louise Jett for helping us reflect on the history of the ethical culture movement and the responsibility we share in shaping its future. For 150 years, ethical culture communities have gathered to support one another, ask difficult questions, work towards justice, and affirm the dignity and worth of every person. We're grateful to everyone joining us from across the country today. Whether you participated from a congregation, a living room, or somewhere in between, thank you for being a part of this shared celebration. As you move into the week ahead, may you continue building communities of compassion, courage, curiosity, and ethical action wherever you go.
We're still here. Look at us. There's still about 100 of us still here. We have a little time if you would like to say a few words about your society. Rich, what's happening in Asheville? Maybe a lot of us are interested.
We're doing fine. We have about 30 members, and we get together for colloquy once a month and a platform once a month. Our last platform was on nonviolent protesting and nonviolent action, which hopefully we won't need, but we thought it would be worthwhile having a conversation on that. So welcome to everybody. It's great to see you.
Great, thank you. Anybody else want to say about their society? How about Silicon Valley? Paula or John, you want to say a word? I'm unmuting you, Paula. Ask to unmute.
Here in Silicon Valley, we have about similar number of membership as Asheville. We just had yesterday a speaker that come to us through one of our members who spoke about the book Front Street. I highly recommend it. Front Street by Brian Barth, who talks about the lived experience of the unhoused in what is the richest area in the whole world practically, and at least in the country, and the unhoused situation. And it reflects our focus in our ethical action to support some of the unhoused agencies that are in the area and agencies that are helping people in difficult situations, whether they are experiencing domestic violence or the fragile housing. Santa Clara County has 10,000 unhoused people in our area. We also have the most billionaires in the U.S. This is just this inequity is something we're trying to focus on, and as a community, we have several two coffees and conversations a month in person. We have a spotlight in person. We have 3 ethical discussions. So we have lots of things happening in our group, and we're trying to get more visibility about what we're doing and who we are.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Richard in Long Island. We haven't heard anybody from Long Island. Ask to unmute. Does that work? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I was going to volunteer to speak, but this is even better. So we have a very active society, a membership of 75. We have a weekly platform, a weekly colloquy, and a very active social action committee. We have an ethical friends for children, which collects and then donates clothing for children of needy families. And they come in to what is like virtually a store, and they can pick out clothing of all children's sizes, including infants. And we also distribute the diapers, Pampers, also to those families. So I'm sure there's other activities that I've left out. We have our own building. It's very costly. I sympathize with those who have sold or are in the process of selling. We do rent, but we've had major expenses and had to have a major fundraising drive. Thanks.
Oh, your audio went out, Richard. Will somebody raise their hand? Otherwise, I'm going to call on faces I know. How about you, Joy McConnell? Do you want to say a
So
word? Oop. Ooh, I turned you on.
Okay, I'm also from Asheville now. St. Louis is my home society. I joined there in 1972. And so I've been around a long time, and I was very fortunate to become a leader and to live a wonderful life working for the American Ethical Union. And yeah, it's great to see a lot of old friends and to be here today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Rita, should you want to say a word? You're from Brooklyn, but we could let you a second Brooklyn person. That's you, Rita.
Thank you, Joe, and I'll get you for this. Nice to see everyone. See old faces that I haven't seen in years. Hello, Joy. Nice to see Ken Kovac. Also, nice to see everyone and to get an update as to just what's happening with them. Appreciate the AEU and also my society, which is Brooklyn. And we will just have to continue to hold on and build. Thank you, Draw. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say a word? I mean, Patty, we saw your video of what you guys are doing and with the food banks, but you guys are growing, right? Maybe.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, we have 10 members. We gain some, then we'll lose one or two. So we're kind of holding steady, but we're a mighty group. And our most recent project that we're co-hosting with a member of ours is a community vegan potluck event happening at the end of June. So we're looking forward to that and hoping that some of those community folks who are, plant eaters, vegan, will find that, the values that we hold are values they share, and, maybe they'll join us at some point. So yeah, this has been wonderful. Have loved hearing from so many and sharing about your societies. And I'm ready for another 150 years. Now I won't be around.
I'll see you then. No,
Yeah.
we'll be there.
There we go.
Anybody else? If you don't, Paul, do you want to say about Baltimore? We've been Baltimore used to have what was it? Like a improv group where I met you. I'm asking you to unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Jor. We used to have an improv group put on by Charlie Schaefer. Unfortunately, we no longer have that group. I think Wes used to have one too, and I don't know if they have theirs anymore. But we've been doing our best, still kind of struggling. Our memberships is kind of on the older side and slowly dropping off, unfortunately. If anybody has any ideas of getting young people into the society very quickly, I would love to hear you. I still think that the ethical society is an important niche to fill, especially as those who have been disappointed, abused, and whatnot regarding the traditional theological religions are leaving them. Certainly fairly in droves too. So I hope we can to get this society going, and it's lovely to see a lot of the other societies really very active. I never knew how active a lot of our community was. And in fact, it's great to have everyone here joining uh, us today. And I hope we can do more of these, not just all society platforms, but even to hear about the groups as a total. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Paul, do you see anybody you know that you want to call on? Because I ran out of people that I know.
Well, in terms of the, let's see, to the,
Well, raise your hand, please, and we'll call on you.
see, Kirk, I don't know if Kirk is still on. Kirk is our chair of the caring committee, and he has been so for many, many, many years.
Oh, there he is.
Great, there you are.
I unmuted you, Kirk. I think I have to press a button. Yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Kirk Mullen, he, him. And I'm happy that I attended today. A good chance to get to see what's going on. You know, I haven't been to St. Louis, but I have been up to Philadelphia, and I've been in the society there. At at the Baltimore Ethical Society, I've been a member. First of all, I've been a member of the Ethical Society for, I think, now 35 years. I have been on the caring committee most of that time. In 2004, a small group of us thought it'd be great to have to have poetry. And so since 2006, and we started meeting in 2004. And since 2006, I've been chairing the poetry group. And we've been meeting every first Sunday of the month since 2006. We haven't missed a Sunday. And I've been on, I've held several positions. I've been president, I've been secretary. I'm currently secretary. And vice president, everything except treasurer, Sunday school teacher. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I was drawn to ethical culture. My first experience with ethical culture was at West, and I lived in the area, and I went in there and really liked what was being said. Some of you may remember Don Montagna.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Don's first speaking at West, first time he spoke at West. So I really liked it. I liked the ideas. It was the intellectual aspect of it that
Kurt?
really drew me in.
I see a hand raised up. But by the way, did you know today is Walt Whitman's birthday? Just want to say. And before I'm going to go to you, Gary. I'm going to ask you to unmute. And let's see if am I able to do. And I wanted to say that what Kirk brought up is so important is lay leadership. And if many of us have grown, like myself, can say we grow a lot by becoming ethical culturists and becoming lay leaders. Joy told us Joy is an official leader, if that's clergy leader is the right word. But there's a lot of opportunity, especially for young people, to grow and become leaders. Look, what lay leadership makes our movement. Carrie, you're up.
Yes, Cary, like Cary Grant, and my wife is Joan, like Joan of Arc. So anyway, that's how people remember us.
What society?
Yes, I'm a relatively new member of the Ethical Humanist Society of Long Island. Now, we moved here from Norwalk, Connecticut, where we were members of the Congregation for Humanistic Judaism. So moving here to be close to our daughter and the rest of our family, I Googled humanist, and so that's how I found Ethical Humanist Society of Long Island. Well, it's been a pleasure. They do a lot of things, but they center on Sunday morning from 11 to 12 platform, and it's great. They also have a coffee house that meets on maybe one Friday night a month, whatever. And so since it's an open mic, I took advantage of it and showed up early to sign up. And I did my version of stand-up comedy, and it was appreciated. And I used my cane as a make-believe hook to take me out off stage when I was finished. So that was cute. And they do a number of things. Apparently they have a book group that I'll be joining next month. I've already ordered the book, and they have a social action group, and a number of them have been out for the No Kings rallies, and so that's been good, as well as the fact that we pack up packages that we put in backpacks for disadvantaged students for their day at elementary school, and that's been good. So there's a lot of good coming out of it, as well as a lot of good people.
And good for you, right? And you feel good. I mean, just want to say that.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
we do join for selfish reasons. Anybody else? Patricia Hickerson, do you want to say? And Richard Askins, you guys have been patiently listening. Maybe you want to add your comments? Patricia, should I unmute you? Unmuted you? Let's.
Hi, it's been really fun joining you all. I think you've about said it all. It's great to know that there are other thinking people out there, broad-minded people, and I hope we keep growing.
Thank you.
If we survive.
What society are you in?
Which what?
Where are you?
The Northern Virginia Ethical Society.
Cool.
Went to West many decades ago. Learned about it through the Arlington Unitarian Church, and I think I found my tribe.
Oh boy. Richard Askins, can I ask you to tell us where you're from?
Yes. I live in northeastern New Jersey in Bergen County, and I am part of the Bergen County ethical community. I was, well, there were a lot of traumas in my life when I was younger. Both my parents were in or near warfare. My father was in the military, a bunch of different parts of the military, and also in the Canadian Army at one point. My mother was in Germany during World War II. She was an older teenager and young adult when Hitler came to power. And she had her city bombed out many times by both the Americans and the Royal Air Force. So they had tons of trauma. I joined for both to do what I could, which was difficult because I had to do a lot of therapy on my own, because both my parents tried to kill me when I was a teenager.
Oh my God.
They were very needy people. My mom thought that having a child would give her someone to love, which I have learned both in therapy and from my wonderful, much more healthy wife, that that's not what you do as a parent. You don't have a child so it can help you. You do your best to help your children. I guess when I was in my 30s, early 30s, when my wife was finally ready to have kids, she was very deliberate about it. She wanted to have enough money. She wanted to, she was well educated like I was too, luckily. That was the one real blessing. My parents knew that they had a terrible life because they did not have the opportunity to be educated. Neither one of them got past middle school, and they're two different countries. So ethical culture, I tried to give to it whatever I could with action, but to me, I'm still at 70, trying to learn to be a decent social human being. I was like in a hothouse, like a plant. I was an only kid. We didn't have any relatives around. Closest relatives were in Europe, which my mom, we did visit occasionally in the summer. We visited them. But I feel I have these walls that I've, over my lifetime, I have tried to reduce, to make thinner, to find holes in, to relate to other people. It is kind of difficult when you have to start with, well, both my parents tried to kill me when I was a teenager. Most people don't know how to deal with that, or even begin. So, but in ethical culture, I found, a lot more people that can. So that's helpful. And it helps me give back too. And I needed a better religion. My mother needed her religion very, very badly. And she threatened to abandon me because I didn't want to be propagandized at some point by the Christian religion. And then I found out about ethical culture when I was an adult and said, I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I will ever be a full member, because I could be paranoid at times when both your parents are needy and they've tried to off you and tried to abandon you. But I've learned an awful lot. And between therapy and being an ethical culture and giving what I can, I have grown as a human being. I've become more empathetic. I've become less commandeering. My father, being in the military, was an authoritarian and very commandeering. And unfortunately, I got a lot of that from him, and I had to learn to reduce that. I think ethical culture is very good. It does depress me at times that when I first started 30 years ago and then I left for a while, I won't tell you the incident, was crazy as far as I'm concerned, considering how everyone talks about how ethical they are or how uplifted they are.
Let's stay positive.
Yep,
You're right. We're all very, very ethical. We're the best people in the world. We're so good we don't even need God. How is that for? Thank you, Richard. I don't mean to, should we?
No, it's okay. Thank you for giving me as much time.
Yeah,
as
thank you.
I
And I love that
appreciate
background. What is that? How'd you get that photograph? Ellen McBride, your hand is up. I'm trying to unmute you. Ask what happens.
Okay.
Yep. Say a few words. And
Yeah,
where
am
you
I
from?
unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I just want to say welcome everybody to come to New York. I'm one of the co-chairs this year of the Assembly. I first joined Ethical in 1964, so I probably beat out most of you. I'm still hanging in there at 85. And I think it's a great thing to see us coming back together again, and hear people still getting involved in so many things. New York, as you know, is involved in many, many things. I was involved in Bergen for most of my years, but started in New York, and I've returned to New York. And I welcome you. Come to New York this July.
Thank you. Anybody else? We're starting to run down. You're not the oldest person here, by the way, Ellen McBride, because I see Patricia Simpson, who's not by the camera, but she's well older than you. And she's in Brooklyn. I don't know. Let's leave her alone. I saw her. You see that living room there where she's. Anyway. Anybody else? One last thing, or should we? Oh, should we say goodbye? Is that what your hand is up? Oh, Kay has a hand up. Can you turn on your camera too, Kay? Ooh,
I don't go on camera, but I wanted to mention that Ken and I have been speaking privately because we're we spent time in various areas in North America, and he mentioned that there's an international humanist meeting in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, coming up this summer, and so I suggested that perhaps when people come across the border, that they could meet with the Western New Yorkers here, and then also cross the border and meet those of us in Southern Ontario as well at that time.
Thank you.
Anyone that's coming over, and also Rita Wilson had her hand raised. Thanks so much. This is
No, I think Rita Wilson was waving at me. Are
Yeah.
you waving at Rita, or are you saying goodbye? You want to talk again? Should we let her talk again? I'm trying. Okay.
I'd just like to mention that I saw our Valerie Francis name a few minutes ago.
Oh, there she is.
She's a longtime member, and her son was in our Yes group. I don't know whether Ellen McBride remember, but we've gone to youth meetings, and her son would often be there. I don't know whether she's still on, but nice to
Yeah,
see.
she is. She's right here. I'll unmute her, Valerie. Let's see if that works. Yes stands for Youth of Ethical Societies.
Right.
Very positive term. It's better than no. Anyway, thank you. Valerie, do you want to say, let's see if I could unmute you. This is very tricky. I have to press a button. Did you turn off the camera because you don't want us to talk to you? What happens if there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can.
Oh yeah. So I'm now a grandmother.
Wow.
And so the child's not yet a year old, and I'm trying to see if I can get visitation rights of like one day a month. It's a new thing. So but I'm trying to see if since they're in the Bronx, if I can connect them with Ethical in Riverdale, because that's a short distance. So it's just like I've given up my transportation for the grandchild because the father commutes from Brooklyn to the Bronx. And so we'll see what happens. So right now I'm just even trying to get her to let me hold her. Babies nursing are very connected to the source.
Very nice.
Okay, but I try to go to Ethical in Brooklyn like at least once a month and spread that out with trying to doing that travel to the Bronx. And I'm not retired. I'm always doing forestry and ecological stuff.
Wow.
Oh, yay.
Okay, thanks.
We've had a platform about trees, if you might have enjoyed that. And yesterday I read a whole scientific thing on Substack. People were interested in touching a tree is supposedly very, very good for you. And for there's something chemical about it. People familiar with that? I just learned about it. I told my daughter, she said that she's depressed. I said, go touch a tree. She said, I did it already today. So people know about it. I'm just a latecomer to this.
You hug the tree, you hug it.
Hug it.
Yeah.
Hug it.
Well, the real thing is touching the earth, being grounded, like the idea that your feet should touch something that's not cement. And, vegetation, that's critical. So trees or shrubs or, some kind of not artificial grass, which I hate they put in parks, that's kind of critical for people to connect with.
Well, what that essay said, I mean, I'm not doubting you, but I agree with you, but that there's a chemical thing in the bark and trees that protects it from all the stuff that's out there that's bad. And when you touch it, it kind of goes on. Maybe it sounds like hocus pocus, but there's a lot of hocus pocus that's really true. And ethical culturists, many of us are very skeptical people. We don't trust things like supernatural, but there's stuff that we don't know. I think we could have, I agree. I think there are things we don't know, and we could, even if we can't touch it. Anyway,
well, if you're a herbalist, you know that most medicine, the greatest medicine comes from the twigs and the bark and the roots of the tree versus the leaves and versus the fruit. So you think of that way, that bark is medicinal. That's where you get cinnamon and things like that are good for diabetes. So scientifically, those parts of the parts that you don't usually think of, just the fruit that we buy in the store, that's just very critical.
See a list of participants.
And
Okay.
Thank you.
Standing under a giant redwood or sequoia is a humbling experience. It puts your life in perspective when you think the bristlecone pine tree, I think, lives up to 5,000 years. When you think how short our lifespans are, that we're not that great.
There you go.
Yeah, just greetings from Austin. We have a small group. Did somebody talk about Austin already?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Did? Okay, I tuned in late, so a small group, but we meet weekly. I mostly tune in by Zoom since I work at Fort Hood, which is about an hour away during the weeks. I have limited weekend time, but great group I joined because things sounding sure some musical in our local little chronicle. So my favorite part is every other week we do a colloquy, and favorite part is the colloquy, which is on different topics, and we share. So we've been doing some work recently, putting food bags together, thing. But anyway, I enjoy the Baptist during my teen years, and it took me years of being an atheist. So anyway.
The American Humanist Association, and I'm very curious about this, the Ethical Society, and I've loved being a part of this virtual for you because I am most interested in children's education and ethical development. And I'm wondering what each of you are doing maybe in your societies regarding ethical education for children.
Well, that's you opening up a long conversation, but we do have a Sunday school. As a congregation, our groups meet and many people join because they wanted to bring their children to a Sunday school that wasn't religious, to an ethical Sunday school. That's the way many people join, find out and come to ethical culture.
Well, I don't know.
That's it.
I think that as a humanist, most of us are very ethical. I mean, that's a part of our commitment to humanism.
Right. Well, that's one of my points. They should join ethical culture and we'll have a bigger movement, because what we do is we have local communities. And Ken told us about Chicago and one that his friend Amy is starting nearby. So ethical cultures, societies, to me, I believe it's societies for ethical culture. We try to spread the ethics and we make congregations. It's a little different from just being a humanist.
So I'm working right now with a visibility brigade, which you guys may have heard about. And we go out weekly and we do some other things, and we go to our bridge and we put out signs because of the mainstream media being bought up by these very wealthy people. And one of our more consistent messages right now is it's the American people versus the billionaires. I know there are some good billionaires out there, but not very many.
Okay. So with that, I see a heart with a bow from Kay. Who is that for, Kay? Why don't you just like, no, never mind. I'm assuming it's for all of us. That was how. Can I close this Zoom room without anybody feeling like being rushed? We didn't rush this, right? Good to see everybody, especially people who I haven't seen before. So I'm going to close this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Au
Bye.
revoir.